Vegans and vegetarians, what differentiates them? When I first heard those two terms, I wondered, why do you even need two words for people who just don't like to eat meat and like to snack on carrots? Well, actually, it was much more complicated than that. There are many definitions and rules that make vegans and vegetarians apart, but in simple terms, vegans are people who abstain from eating any animal products at all, while vegetarians are similar but still consume some products such as eggs or dairy. As an experiencer of both lifestyles, I can confidently say that they are both styles of lives that need to be acknowledged and understood. Of course, for me personally, I can't go without the juicy medium rare steak once in a while, but still. Well, you might be thinking, who is this guy and why is he talking about vegetarianism? Well, I want to introduce you guys to my journey of vegetarianism by first talking about India. India is actually the most vegetarian country in the world. Over 20% to 45% of its entire population goes by the rules of vegetarianism and is strictly on a diet of vegetables and carbohydrates. It's crazy to think that nearly 1/3 of the whole population doesn't even consume meat, and I wouldn't have even believed it if I didn't see it for myself. When I was young, there was an opportunity for me to go live in India. Well, it was something that I had never experienced before, and I didn't know what exactly to expect. So when I finally arrived in India, I can say that what I saw and experienced was special, to say the least. There were many peculiar events, but from that, I want to introduce to you three main differences that I saw while looking at India's cuisine and culture. Those three main differences were that first, the cuisine and culture of the people were different, and second, all the restaurants there had a vegetarian menu, and lastly, the people's body and appearance was very different from what I saw in Korea, where I used to live. These differences and significance was something that I'd never seen before, so I decided to do some more research. As I lived in India and a few months flew by, I finally adjusted to the country and found a conclusion to these differences that I mentioned. That conclusion was Hinduism. Hinduism is the most popular religion in India. It naturally promotes compassion and non-harm to all beings, and that involves the animals that we abuse and kill every day to create the products that we eat. So naturally, Hinduism promotes vegetarianism or veganism to its followers, causing upper caste Indian people to go by their beliefs and follow vegetarianism. Another reason that I found for vegetarianism and its abundance population in India was due to the region being naturally rich in peas or other protein-based vegetables. Because the natural Indian cuisine can be made not only of meat, but also vegetables and carbohydrates, and those protein-based vegetables, naturally, vegetarians in India can emerge more commonly. So you might be wondering, what and how did this change India? Like I've mentioned before, I saw that Indian people had a different body shape and appearance than those of what I saw in Korea. According to my very personal experience, I could say that Indian people had huge bellies and fat without being necessarily muscular or big. I attributed the reason to this for the large intake of carbohydrate and vegetables due to their vegetarian diet. And I saw this continuity happening while living and visiting many regions of India. Of course, different regions of India had different cuisines and cultures. However, there was a continuity that vegetarianism was definitely changing the people living there. It was also seen when I myself started vegetarianism. Like I've said before, I've tried both the lifestyles of vegetarianism and veganism, and it all started when I first arrived in India. Going back to the first few months of India, my family and I decided to go by the rule, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, and go by India's rules and start vegetarianism. Well, those few 6 months of vegetarianism was one of the hardest and difficult times that I experienced in my life, but I can say that I still learned quite a bit from it. During the first few months of vegetarianism, I was in a hard place. Vegetarian food didn't fit me, and I was constantly becoming weak due to me skipping meals because of the bad taste. I never had the energy to do anything and was always laying down because of the bad health. Well, after a few months passed and I adjusted to the vegetarian lifestyle, I could see some few changes in my body. Those changes were that I had more endurance and stamina, but had less muscle, and that vegetarianism was helping me with digestion and having a more variety of foods. You can say that I was becoming more similar to the Indian body type like I have mentioned before. And this experience of me becoming more similar to the population of the country I lived in was something that I experienced while traveling abroad and lived in many other countries. I have lived in Turkey or Europe too, and while living there, I could see the same thing. And when I first realized that, it was something very special. I thought it was like some kind of new scientific discovery that I had to tell the people of the world. But then I realized that's obvious. People of different countries have different ways of life that create those different people. It felt like a function of ways that was needed to put in to create specific types of people. And I think this is why diversity exists. Because humanity has diverged from each other since it could walk, it created new functional ways of lives that I have mentioned to create specific new countries and cuisines and cultures. To conclude, what am I trying to say? Culture. Culture is what defines us. We are born as societal animals that need to interact and talk with the people nearby us. We are not just the personal choices and things that we do, but also how we are affected by our environment and the people nearby us. Culture is not just the foods or traditions of your country, it is the shared human experience that defines us and makes us into who we are. Thank you.